And welcome back to Washington Commanders Insider. Today, we're talking about if the Washington Commanders should be looking to sign safety Justin Simmons. And so before we go ahead and we jump into it, I first want to remind you to hit that subscribe button, just like Jaden Daniels is going to be hitting Terry McLaurin, Deebo Samuel, Zach Ertz, Luke McCaffrey, and many others for multiple touchdowns this upcoming season. And so in exchange for hitting that subscribe button, I'm going to give you nothing but daily content around the Washington Commanders. And so make sure that you hit that like, you hit that subscribe, and you join the Washington Commanders Insider family as we talk nothing but Washington Commanders football. And so with that being said, let's go ahead and let's jump into it as we're talking about Justin Simmons and if the Washington Commanders should go out and sign him. And so I saw this in a couple different places out there, so you can go see this on Commanders Wire, also to Rigo's Rag as well. But within this article or those articles, you're going to see a quote here from an interview that he did, and he's talking about going to his next destination because currently he is a free agent. And so he said that, look, I think Atlanta, I would still pick 10 out of 10 times if I was in that spot last year. But in terms of where I'm at now, being a little bit more picky where we want to go and where we want to call home next, the next 2 years, a year, whatever it is, but a contender is number one on the list right now, Justin Simmons via Pro Football Talk. And so, all right, so it sounds like definitely the Commanders could be a match here when you're talking about a contender. And if you're not familiar with Justin Simmons, look, Justin Simmons is a very productive safety in the National Football League. And so he just got done playing for the Atlanta Falcons here last season, came into the league in 2016 with the Denver Broncos, and he spent all his time there until the 2023 season. And look, this is a safety that is not shy as far as coming down into the run game and making contact there. And I think that he is very good in coverage as well. You're talking about a player that has been a two-time Pro Bowler, and then also too, he's a four-time All-Pro player as well here in the National Football League. And so this is a guy that is super productive, and I think he would help any defense. In fact, this last season here with the Atlanta Falcons, he had 62 total tackles, 36 solos. He had 26 assists there, and he also had 2 INTs. And so when you're talking about takeaways, that is exactly what you like to see. And want to emphasize again that Justin Simmons, I think, is very solid in coverage here. And so, with that being said, I think that Justin Simmons would be an excellent addition here to the Washington Commanders, but I'm not sure that I'm necessarily sold on going out here and going to sign him. I think that, when you're looking at the safety position for the Washington Commanders, I think that that's something that really that's the least of the concerns for me personally. I think that that's a position in which I like what the Washington Commanders have done with Will Harris, because I just talked about this with Justin Simmons in the fact that, look, this is a guy that has no problem coming up in the run game and being physical there. I think that this is a player that can also go out and cover too. And I love the fact that he's got the experience just like Justin Simmons here. And so I think that he's certainly going to help us out. I get the fact that we don't have Jeremy Chin here, but I do think that Will Harris is going to step in here, and I think he's going to have a very good season. Next, to go along with that, we have Quan Martin, who I think is going to have a very good season with the Washington Commanders here. I really do feel like that he has a chance to step up even more here. And you're talking about a player that has only been in the league here for 3 years. And so very young safety. I think that he's still got a ton of upside. And then, I like the fact that, we still have players like Tyler Owens who we're trying to figure out exactly what we have there. I think the plan is also to get Jeremy Reeves some more playing time on the defensive end. And one of the players that I like here that we have brought in is going to be Robert McDaniel. Now we'll see how this works out. This is a player here coming out of Jackson State. And so I definitely like him as far as the physical tools that he would bring back there at safety when you're talking about a player that can maybe come up and then also to get back here and play some coverage as well. We'll see how it shakes out during the preseason and the camp battles and things like that. And you also too have Dominique Hampton and Percy Butler. And so you have a good young piece or core, I should say, back here at the safety position. And so I'm not necessarily sold on going out here and just jumping on, the Justin Simmons bandwagon here, because I do think that he's a great player. But I think that what it comes down to is if the Washington Commanders are going to add a veteran player on the defensive end, I think it's going to be something that is going to help us do one of two things. Either it's going to be a player that is going to help us generate more sacks, or it's going to be a player that is going to help us stop the run. I think that that really is the bottom line here for the Washington Commanders. I mean, we'll see what happens. But to me, I think that the secondary in general, like just overall, has taken a step forward with what we have. And so I don't think that there's necessarily going to be a need at safety, but you never know. I mean, we could get into the season and look, the safeties just they're not working out. And that would, suggest that you do have to go out there and make the adjustment. And if he's still available, then yes, I would say that you go and sign him. But right now, even though it seems like it lines up with what he's talking about with wanting to play with a contender, and I definitely think that he would be a terrific fit, I would say no. I'd say that this is more so a wait and see situation here. And I don't mind saying that because I am betting on the fact that we are going to be fine here at the safety position. And remember, we've talked about this several times with defense, because defense is something just like the offense too. Like everybody is going to have to be on the same page, especially defensively. That's how everybody, is going to look good here, and nobody's just left out to dry. And I just think that when you hear Joe Witt Jr. Talk about the fact that he has players now in position that are just going to fit the scheme better, I just think overall you're going to see a plus in the defense. And I think that, look, every position is going to really take a step forward here because of that. And so that's why, I know that there's been like a lot of emphasis on going out here and getting a pass rusher and things like that. But you really seriously have to wait and see what this defense is going to do, especially when, you're hearing things like, hey, we've got a great scheme fit right now. And I love the fact that, just people are really not taking in consideration what these guys are going to do up front, because I do think that Javon Kinlaw, Eddie Goldman, Dietrich Wise Jr., all these guys like that are going to make some plays for us. And I think that this is a defense that could be very underrated up front, and it could lead to a lot more turnovers perhaps in the secondary. I mean, we'll see what happens here, but I think that maybe some of the biggest beneficiaries on the defensive end as far as turning the football over might be our safeties and our corners, but we'll see how this works out. But right now, I'm not on board with just going out and signing Justin Simmons because he's available and he wants to get to a contender. But anyway, you guys let me know in the comments here what you guys are thinking. Are you on board with the fact that, yes, we should just wait and see what we have at the safety position right now with the Washington Commanders? Or do you think that, what, we should go out here and we should go get a guy like Justin Simmons? And so I'd love to hear what your thoughts are. And as we always say, look, go Commanders. And I will see you guys on the next one. All right, peace.